Okay, so the last two videos were a little weird. I had one Tuesday morning that like broke off, which I'll explain, and the one right after that, and that just kind of catches everybody up on Tuesday. But Wednesday, y'all, Wednesday was when the heaviness lifted. So that was just a day where the Lord was just really clarifying a lot of things. So I'm excited to share those types of things because none of it would have made sense without that dry, heavy season. So I'm grateful for that dry, heavy season, but I'm also grateful that it's over. And I can be in this season. So the first thing was that was important to me was that when I feel the heaviness around me but not in me, what I'm really to do is to sit under the weight of it, to be still and to know, not busy myself with disciplines or reading or music, but just stillness. Not that any of those things would be bad, but I was really grasping and striving through that time. Really in a works-based salvation plan. Like, if I just read more, I think what I rationally thought was, if I just read my Bible more, it'll shorten this, or I'll learn the thing I need to learn and it can be over. And it's subtle, but like the word, like me saving myself is at the core of that. Wanting to rush and not accept that Jesus is right here with me in this. So he has a purpose for it. So me trying to manipulate the circumstances or the religious things I do to get me out of it faster is a me salvation thing. Or I can earn salvation being sped up. Or it's like a game. Like Jesus is waiting for me to do the right specific thing that he's looking for, like a spiritual scavenger hunt. That's not what's happening, but that's how I treated it. And I don't think at the time I realized that, but I knew that once it was over because of the revelation he gave me. So he said, be still and know, not busy with disciplines, not reading, not music, not stillness, but time with you is the start, not the second place. So he helped me see, like, it's not for me to get up and go to that special chair where I do my reading, or for me to pray certain words, or for me to listen to the music that hits just right today for me to be able to get in a worshipful space, or to exercise, or to have quiet. All of that is the thing that comes from being with Jesus. The first thing is just being with Jesus. And the question of, what do you want to do? What do you want to do first? And not answering that myself. Like, what do you want to do? You want me to read? I'm just going to start reading and see, like, if you say something. Oh, you want me to listen to music? I'm just going to listen to music and see what, like, jumps out. What he's saying is, like, meet me and I will move. Learning how to hear from him is simple, in that the only thing to do is listen. That's really hard. I want to find the vehicle that he's going to speak through and then listen. And I think in this season, he was teaching me, just sit still and be with me. And look at me in the eye of your mind and in your soul and in your heart. Look at me. Don't look at how you're feeling or how your circumstances are or what your calendar's like today, but look at me and ask, what do you want me to do with you today, right now? And start there and be still and know. And the heavier things feel and the harder it is to hear, the more still I need to be, the more quiet I need to be, not the more grasping at like a trial and error. Is this the fix? Like I know that our God is a God of order, and he uses routines and systems, habits, for our good and for his glory. I know that he uses that. And there are sometimes where I feel like he is calling me out of something that's become habit to renew and refresh. And I think I maybe thought that this was one of those times, and instead of just giving him the time and the quiet, I was just trying things, like, well, I'll just try this and see if he brings me a word, or I'll try this. And I was just really selfish and impatient. I wasn't excited to spend time with him. I was trying to get to the next place with him. So I feel like I was just kind of creating this own storm of one thing to another, like journaling, being in the Bible plan, hearing a podcast, listening to a worship song, wash, rinse, repeat, right? In whatever different ways I could find. Of course, like church community things in there too. And the Lord was so gracious to give me insight and takeaways, but not like his revelation secrets, like come from just spending time with him and listening to him. So it reminded me, like, when you're driving in a storm and or you're just driving and a storm comes, what do? You turn everything off, right? Like if you have on a music, or if you have other people in the car, you always, shh, everybody be quiet. I can't hear, which is funny, but true. Like silence all the distractions, because the noise of the storm is so loud that we can't perceive the hard to perceive things. And so I think that was one of the biggest things I kind of learned from that season. And then another thing was like strengthening different muscles. Like I rely on my leg muscles so much because they're probably the strongest part of my body. So when I'm doing like strength training or something like that, I can always tell that no matter what muscles I'm trying to isolate, I'm usually pulling from other bigger muscles, just because that's what happens. So when we are developing spiritual muscles, we are going to develop the bigger spiritual muscles first. But then when we get into the fine tuning of things and the more intricate things, I feel like those take like more fine muscles that are harder to develop. And often I'll like compensate by using those bigger muscles and not really working the smaller muscles that need to be grown and worked. And so while I was exercising, it was Wednesday. I mean, like the Lord was just flowing with all sorts of things. And he was like, okay, when you're doing push-ups and sit-ups, pay attention to what muscles are working. And I could tell, like, the muscles that, let's be honest, all my muscles need work, but the ones that need the most work weren't working at all because I was compensating with the larger muscles. So what did I have to do? I had to slow down. I had to slow the movements way down so I could really pay attention to what muscle groups were moving, what muscle groups were contracting and releasing, and what muscle groups I needed to intentionally relax so that I could engage the other muscle groups that I was wanting to work on. And I felt like that's what he was saying. Like, that's what those seasons are for. Seasons of heaviness, so that you can practice lifting with muscles that you haven't discovered yet, you haven't strengthened yet. And if you continue to strive forward in the big muscles that you already have, not necessarily already have, but have already worked on, have already worked out, you're going to get somewhere. You're not going to totally fall on your face, but you're going to miss the growth and the benefit of developing and having those other muscles. And then eventually those get stronger and those support the bigger muscles. So it was just so uplifting to hear that. And then also, it's hard. Like the day after you use a muscle you've never used before or haven't in years or didn't even know you had, it hurts. And then it might hurt for a couple days. So it was just a good reminder of, like, just because it hurts, just because it's confusing, just because it's new, just because it's hard, doesn't mean there is not something really great on the other side. And I can be competitive and athletic sometimes and think, like, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth it. I mean, that's true, but I don't know that, like, the joy of the Lord comes from, like, gritting and bearing it to get through it. I think more the slow, really slow, intentional movements to really still the things that I've come to rely on as a crutch to make myself engage the new and the growing, the better off I'm going to be. So that was really cool. And I'm just grateful for Wednesday because all of this came from that. And there's a few, like, totally unrelated things. So I'm going to record those separately. But I'm just delighted to be in this place and in this space with the Lord and with you and with anyone else who may join us. But I hope that that's helpful as you're deconstructing and reconstructing, to be encouraged and not to, like, have this, it's hard, but it's worth it. And I'm just going to power through. Like, you don't have to power through. That's not what he wants. He is your strength and he is your endurance and he is your victor. So you will get there. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the heaviness and the weight won't be hard. But if at all possible, be still, know, listen, and he'll tell you what you need to know.